Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Emily. This is my channel, Books for Life, and today I'm here for the Mid-Year Freakout Tag! So we are in the month of June, so we're pretty much halfway through the year, so I decided to hop on and do the Mid-Year Freakout Tag. I don't know who it was originally created by. If I do find that out, I'll put that in the description box down below. So before I actually start the questions that are part of this tag, I do want to give you like a little bit of my stats. Now, I'm only filming this on Saturday, June 13th, so by the end of June, obviously things will change, but at this point, as of today, I have read 52 books, which is not quite my halfway point because I'm hoping to read 112 books this year, but I think that by the end of June, I'll have surpassed my halfway point, which means I'm right on track. And so far, that means I have read 19,871 pages. So far, my longest book has been Crescent City by Sarah J. Maas at 799 pages, according to Goodreads. And then my shortest book has been The Sleeper and the Spindle by Neil Gaiman at 79 pages. Okay, so here are the questions. The first one is, what is the best book you've read so far in 2020? No one's going to be surprised if you're familiar with my channel, but that for me, of course, would be Crescent City by Sarah J. Maas. I absolutely love this. I am eager to read it again. I thought it was fantastic. I love this new world. I loved the characters. I loved everything. This was amazing. Question 2 is, what's the best sequel you've read so far this year? I think I'm going to go with The Girl in the Tower by Catherine Arden. I'm really enjoying this Winter Night trilogy. I really loved the second book. I thought it lived up to the hype of the first book, which a lot of books have that middle book slump, but I did not feel that way at all about this one, and I really enjoyed it. Third question is, a new release that you haven't read yet, but you want to. Now, I'm not sure if my haul video will be up, but if it is, then you will know that I recently purchased The Court of Miracles by Kester Grant. This just came out, I think, at the end of May, beginning of June, and I'm really excited about it. It sounds fantastic. It takes place in Paris, I think in 1829, and you are following a thief, and it says you never steal from a thief, and her sister has gone missing, so she's trying to get her sister back, and it sounds fantastic. So this fourth question asks you, what's your most anticipated release for the second half of the year? Now, I don't really follow that many new releases unless I have an author that I love and I'm excited for, or if I'm reading a series and I know the next one's coming out. So I actually just went on Goodreads and I was like, what are some new releases that are coming out? And I found one that I thought sounded interesting. And I actually just heard another booktuber talk about this. So I can't remember who it was though. But this is Where Dreams Descend by Janella Angels? I don't remember. I'll leave a picture here. Now this is a romantic fantasy and that just sounds really good. I know it has to do with magicians and there's a magic system and I think it alternates points of view, but I'm not sure, but it just sounds really good. I love chick lit stories and fantasy is my favorite, so I'm excited to read a romantic fantasy. Question 5 is, what has been your biggest disappointment of 2020? And if you've been watching lately, you know that The Girl Who Drank the Moon by Kelly Barnhill was not a favorite of mine. I actually have an entire video dedicated to my review on that, so if you want to know why this was my biggest disappointment so far this year, I'll leave a card linked up above. Definitely check that out. Number 6 is your biggest surprise. Now, the book that I'm going to mention, I'm not going to say it really was a huge surprise, but I'm choosing this because I had no idea what it was about. I hadn't heard anyone talk about it. It was on my Libby app, so I just picked it up and started listening to it. So I went in with no expectations and I ended up loving it. And that would be The Grace Year by Kim Liggett. I just thought that this was a really great story. It's like The Handmaid's Tale meets Lord of the Flies, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was an awesome dystopian coming of age type of story, and I just really, really enjoyed it. Question 7 is new favorite author. Now this could be a debut author or just a new to you. I've decided to go with Julie Berry. She wrote The Lovely War, and I read this at the end of April, and I was just blown away by how beautiful the story was, and I loved how she mixed Greek mythology with historical fiction and a little bit of romance, and I really loved this story. It was so well done, and I want to pick up other books by her. I don't know that I would classify her as a favorite, but with the other authors that are new to me this year, she's definitely one that's like high on my radar that I really want to make a point to read more by. All right, number 8 is newest fictional crush. I'm going with Bryce. I love her. Like, she is everything I aspire to be and more. Like, I have a crush on Bryce. She's absolutely amazing. I love her. She's like one of the best female characters that I've read, and I have a girl crush on her. Question 9 is newest favorite character. I'm going to go with Jane from Dread Nation by Justina Ireland. I really, really liked her as a main character. She was sassy. She did things that I never anticipated, but she was kind and loyal, and she was strong and independent, and she was brash. Like, and some of the things that she said were just like, no, don't do that. And I really, really loved her, and I love how much character growth there was, and I'm excited to read the next book in the series. She's definitely one of my favorite characters. Number 10 is a book that made you cry. So I went back through my Goodreads list and I was like, what books made me cry? And actually, I only found one, and that would be The Lovely War by Julie Berry. I did cry in this book. I loved it. I didn't have like sobbing hysterically tears, but I like cried a couple tears here. And I don't think there was another one on like so far this year that's made me cry. So I kind of have to go with that one. Number 11 is a book that made you happy. And I'm going to go with Bringing Down the Duke by Evie Dunmore. This was a historical fiction romance, and I just loved it. I just ate this up. It's like a historical chick lit, and I love the romance here. I liked the main characters. I love the sexual tension. This just like was a book that just made me happy to read, and I want to read more by her. Number 12 is the most beautiful book that you have purchased this year, or one that you were gifted. And I don't know if this is my most beautiful, but it is one that the cover just, I feel, is so striking, and it has a lot of great detail. So that is Ink in the Blood, and I love this for 2 reasons. I love because if you look far away, this looks like a heart, and I think that in itself is really cool. But then I love all of the detail if you look at this close, like all of the things that make that up. I just think it's stunning, and I love like the polka dots on the outside, but I just think this is a really, really stunning cover. And then question 13 is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? Okay, well, I have a ton of books that I need to read by the end of the year. I am still working through my list of classroom library books, which if you don't know what I'm talking about, I have a whole video up about it. You can check that out. I'm also still working on my series to read this year. I have a whole list of series that I wanted to read. I've read some of them. I feel like I'm chugging along with that and I'm doing fairly well. But just some random ones off my shelf that I really want to make a point. I'm going to tell you 5 really quick that I'm going to have to read this year. The first one is Romanoff. I have been eyeing this for a really long time. I was gifted this around Christmas, and I just want to be able to mood read and pick it up. I'm hoping actually maybe sometime in June or July I can make a point to read this one. The next one that I really just want to mood read and pick up off my shelf is Kingdom of Ash and Briar by Hannah West. Now, I heard that this is like one of the best Sleeping Beauty retellings that there ever was, and I've had it for like a year now, and I want to read it so bad. So I just need to make a point to read it this year. The next one is Letters to the Lost by Bridget Kemmerer. Now, everyone says this book makes them cry. Like, this is a contemporary. I just finished More Than We Can Tell by her, and that was such an easy, quick read that I think this one will be the same. Like, I could just probably devour this in 2 days, and everyone says it makes them cry. And I'm like, ooh, what is this about? I want to know more. So this is definitely one that I need to read this year. A recent book that I purchased that I really want to read, hopefully in the next few months, is Daughter of the Burning City by Amanda Foody. Now, I've heard that this is an amazing standalone, and it takes place at a carnival, and I heard it's really dark, and I just think it sounds great. I know that there are a couple people on BookTube who absolutely love this, and I really want to experience this. Okay, so the last book is another retelling, and I'm going to tell you, please don't mind my cover. When we first got our dog 2 years ago, she chewed this up, and I never replaced it because it's still readable, but it's just a little chewed up. But this would be Heart of Iron by Ashley Poston. This is an Anastasia retelling. If I didn't say that, I can't remember. And I just really heard it's amazing. There is a sequel to it. I think it's just a duology, so I do need to pick up the second one. But I've heard it's Anastasia in space, and I really want to read it, and it's a book box book. So like, why don't I just pick it up one month? Because that's a goal I have every month. But this is one that I really want to get to. So that's it for this mid-year freakout tag. I hope you loved this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit subscribe and click that bell so that you can get notified every time I post a video. And I'll be back soon with more bookish videos. As always, keep reading.